Hello, tribe, and welcome to today's live tea session. Today, we are talking about how you were never ever meant to hustle like this. I am spilling the tea and sharing a recipe to help you achieve exactly what you want and become successful without self neglect, self sacrifice, overworking, and hustle. Because guess what? You don't need all of that. If you are starting to join me live, say hello in the comments so I know that you're there. And if you are catching this on the replay, comment team replay so I know that you are watching this because I always love to know who is watching these sessions. Okay, these sessions are really fun for me, so it's always exciting to know that you're here. I see a heart somewhere, so just say hello in the comments so I know who you are. Okay. So, oh, that's Carrie. Look, Carrie just subscribed and she's here already. Look at that. Amazing. I'm so excited, Carrie. You made it. So, this is what we're talking about today, okay? How to become successful without overworking yourself. Now, here is the thing. For many, many years, I believed that to become successful, you needed three things, which was motivation, discipline, and hard work. I thought that once you nailed these three, you were going to become successful, and that's what it takes. And I never questioned that. That's what I believed, right? And I've got this information not only from the people around me, but also since I have started my healing journey and my personal growth journey and my forward work, I started looking for information on how to become successful, right? That's what we do. We Google things, we try to see if we find people that we relate to, people that have been on the path that you want to be in, right? So I've done the same thing, even when I became a coach, right? Because I've been in this world since like forever. Well, forever in my timeline because I'm 40. But it's been 10 years of doing this work. It's been 8 years of helping other people. I have been a coach for a long time now, right? So when I was trying to become successful and I hired people to help me out and whatever, I've seen all of these people that I truly admired talking about how you really had to work hard for what you get. You could not give up. You just have to continue. Your brain is telling you to stop. No, 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 no. You just continue. Your body is telling you that you're tired. No, no, no. You just go ahead and just go, 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 right? And it's interesting because this was a type of information that never sit right with me. I've tried to follow it for a while, and you probably are here because you already tried to follow it for a while. But what happens is that, it never worked for me. It never worked for me. And fun fact, I have been talking about the gentle way, I think for 3 years now. For 3 years, no, maybe more because I quit my teaching job 4 years ago. I just saw a memory photo from Facebook. So since I quit my teaching job, I have decided that I wanted to run my business and live my life the gentle way. I didn't want to work hard. I didn't want to just bring myself to the ground just to say I have a business and I made $1 million. Yeah, if I'm sick, what? It doesn't matter, right? So this information never sit right with me. And what I've noticed is that all of these people, 10 years on this healing journey and this work, you start noticing stuff. And I've started noticing that all of these people that were all for let's go hard, let's, just keep going. All of these people talking about overworking as a way to achieve success, the only way, by the way, right? Some of these people were just like, this is the only way for you to change your life. And they are all in these podcasts talking about how they burnt out, how they were depressed most of the time. And just a few days ago, and I decided to share this in the tea. By the way, I share every Tuesday, I share an article, is Tuesday tea. It's so much fun. And we have a conversation based on this article. So everything that we're talking about now today, I talk about in the article, but I just edit a little bit, so we can have a conversation. And sometimes there's only so much you can say in an article. And I love hanging out with you, so there's that. So before I lose my train of thought. So all of these people are now on podcasts talking about how they burnt out and got depressed and got into an addiction or were addicted to substances so they could keep up. And that's what I was going to tell you. I heard about a coach the other day. I was scrolling on Instagram. Yeah, I do that sometimes. And she was talking about how she was, consuming substances to keep going with her, with her rhythm, with the hustle, and how that was unhealthy. She was miserable. She helped people, but probably wasn't the best thing that she should have been doing. And I was like, no wonder, because how can you keep up? You cannot. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I know how we as human, right? We have this tendency of comparing ourselves to others, right? When we see somebody who's ahead of their journey, we compare ourselves. When we see somebody that seems that's doing a lot of things, we compare ourselves, right? So some of these people that we really admired, they were bringing themselves to the ground. They were sacrificing their health. And then there's other things, right? Some of these people, they have big teams, so it looks like they're doing a lot, and they're doing. I'm not gonna take from hard work from people, but I just want us to take a step back and think about how do we intend on about becoming successful, right? I've made a decision 4 years ago. I am not going to become successful in a way that is detrimental to me, okay? And I quit my job. I have a business. I'm still here. Just started Substack. There's 70 people inside of my subscription, and then I already have 10 people, inside of the academy. Like, I'm surviving, okay? And I'm not hustling. I shouldn't say surviving. I'm thriving, because it's not about survival. It's about thriving, right? So I really want us to take a step back and think about, okay, so what have I learned? And this can be an exercise for you if you're catching right now, if you are watching me right now, or if you are catching the replay. Just think about, okay, what have I learned about becoming successful? And am I comparing myself to these people? And am I trying to hold myself accountable to that standard? Okay, this is one of those things that I didn't put in the article. So if you want to take notes of it. So what is it that you have learned, and what are you trying to keep up with? Yeah. And I mean, if you have done that, we've all done that, right? Try to do the hard way. Try to go the hard way and self-sacrifice. And when I mean the hard way, I'm not just talking about working really hard. Because for some of us, the hard way is just beating ourselves and think about just bullying ourselves throughout. Because for some of us, the hard way is just making things harder for ourselves. I feel like sometimes we confuse intensity and power and strength with just like being point blank aggressive towards ourselves. So that can be another layer of this, right? Now, what these people don't tell you when they're talking about success is that these strategies are just detrimental to you. They don't tell about how women have a women's cycle, a menstrual cycle, and that you should honor that. And I share in the article my story about going to school to teach students, and I'm on my menstrual cycle, I'm in pain, and I'm just cursing everybody out. And I am, taking more pills than I should to be able to go to work. That's not how it's supposed to be. We should take it easy when we are on our periods. But people are not going to tell you that. They'll just tell you to just keep going and pushing through. Well, I refuse that. I rebuke that. It's not in my vocabulary. And guess what? You can still become successful. And I am going to share a recipe with you that is the opposite of all of these things that we have been consuming. And you know what? Let me just pause a little bit here, because this is not their fault. It's not the fault of the people that are online and tell you this. This is what they believed back then, right? So they believed this, and now they believe a different thing. That's why they are on podcasts saying different things, because now they believe in different things, right? And it's not their fault only. It's the fault of our society and our families. Business women inside of the Gentle Badass. How many times do you have to explain that you actually are working? That just because you don't grab your car to go somewhere to slave away for 8, 10 to 12 hours, just explain people that this is actually work and you are actually making money, right? People really, some people don't, they just can't grasp. If you're not working hard, they don't understand, and this is a society thing. Okay, so it's not their fault entirely, it's the entire society. And us, we keep, if we keep working hard and if we keep propagating and talking about this idea, then we're going to continue doing this. So I'm not contributing anymore to this. Let me take a sip of my tea. I've been going on for 10 minutes. Okay, so basically, we have been handed the wrong fuel. We've been handed the hard work fuel, the fear and scarcity fuel, right? But I have a different fuel to share with you. I have, like, it's a warm fuel that actually brings you joy and helps you achieve what you want with all of that, without all of that nonsense. Because to be honest, yes, that's nonsense. You don't need that. You don't need it. And if you apply the gentle way, which is my framework, to achieve what you want without self neglect, self sacrifice, and overworking, you will see, you will realize that, oh my God, I don't need to do all that shit. Because, like, guess what? You don't need. So, what is the alternative? I shared the recipe with you on today's Tuesday tea. And if you want to check it out, go ahead and check it out, because, sometimes here I mention some things, sometimes in tea I mention some things. And also feel free to drop me any questions, even if you are catching this on the replay. I know it's July, some of you just wrote me and you're on vacation and stuff like that. So, okay. All right. So let's talk about this fuel that is going to motivate you and help you achieve the life that you want. First of all, I'm going to surprise you, okay? If you haven't read the tea, you're going to be like, what is she talking about? But this is real. First thing that you need for this recipe to work is joy. Yeah, I'm not joking. You need more joy in your life. You need more happy dances. You need to do things that bring you joy. You need to find what brings you joy and infuse joy in what you do. Because for me, and everybody that I worked with, when they start infusing joy into their practices and into their work and into what they're doing, they realize it's way better motivator than beating yourself up and just pushing through, right? Have you tried to just do a task and it's freaking boring and it's so annoying, and you decide, I'm going to listen to some music, I'm going to dance a little bit, I'm going to shake off all of this resistance? What happens is that it reduces, right? It reduces the resistance, and then the less friction you got, the easier it is for you to follow through. Because if the entire process that you are going through to get to where you want to be is painful, then what's the motivation? It's boring and painful. Eventually, you are going to give up. So that's why you need to infuse your days with joy. And if you're going through a rough time, think about, how can I find joy? Where can I find joy? I always talk about doing little dances because for me, it works like a charm. But what else can you do? I had this coach when that she told us, I was in this group program, and she told us that when you are in a big launch, don't just focus on launching. Go ahead and hang out with your friends. Go ahead and do something that takes you out of the mission that you're on, so you can, like, just truly relax. And when you come back to what you are supposed to be doing, then it's a different vibe. And speaking of vibe, in the article, I talk about how it's too hot, girl. It's really hot. But in the article, I talk about how it's the same thing as going in a car and you're driving. And this is funny because I don't know how to drive. But anyways, it's an analogy. It's the same thing as going in a car and, like, you are with people with frown faces, everybody's mad, nobody's talking to anyone, or you are in your car blasting your favorite music and just, singing it with your besties and stuff like that. Like the destination is the same, but the vibe is a different one. Okay, how are you going to get there faster? How are you going to get there with a different mood? How are you going to get there feeling more energetic and ready to go? I'm guessing it's the option where you're like singing along and you're having fun, right? Then the other ingredient you need is inner peace and learning the power of pause, right? Because I think we we confuse being completely dysregulated with having normal fear. Having normal fear and a little bit of anxiety is okay, but you shouldn't push through when you are feeling completely dysregulated and completely anxious. That's where you have to really harness the power of pause instead of pushing through. Because if you keep pushing through, eventually you're going to hit a wall and you're going to stop, and it's going to stop your process. And if you pause and breathe, take the break, go outside, go for a walk, right? And you look for that inner peace, then you will be able to continue stronger, faster, more energetic, more focused, right? So this is really important. So really try to not go after what you want when you're feeling this inner turmoil. And if you learn how to pause often, you are going to take less and less time to do it, like every time. I don't know if you have experienced it. Yeah. Okay, my favorite ingredient. I'm telling you the favorite ingredient of this recipe. It's structure. Everybody, I know some people they don't like the word structure and they're like, I'll just go with the flow. Now, here's the thing. Going with the flow sometimes take you to another flowy parts where you actually don't want to be. When you go with the flow, sometimes other people take you on a different ride, right? So I do believe that you should flow in life. I have this entire masterclass called Flow Not Force, but you have to stand on a structure that honors you, that honors your needs, and it doesn't need to be something very strict, right? I love a flexi structure. I love a structure where you're like, there are certain things I do 3 times per week. There are at this time, this is my time. Why you need structure? Because when you don't have structure, what really matters to you usually comes last, right? Because a lot of us spend a lot of time catering to other people, and then our dreams, our needs, and everything gets pushed down. But if you have a structure, you reorganize the priorities and you just follow. And oh my gosh, the decision making process for anything is so much easier when you have a structure. There's no negotiating with yourself because there's a structure and you just have to follow. I mean, if you want to create a different structure later, that's fine. But you having that structure, that framework, that system for your life, it's life change. This is what changes everything. Because this is what's going to create space for joy. This is what's going to create space for freedom. This is what's going to create space for inner peace. Because some of us need to create that structure to allow ourselves, for example, to have our morning meditation, to have a routine that allows us to support ourselves, right? So when I talk about structure, it's not only about creating that structure to go after what you want and being like, I have this goal, these are the steps, I'm going after it. No, that's not the structure. The structure is the foundation that you stand on so you can go after those goals and don't be sitting on podcasts talking about how you burned out. Oh my God, I shouldn't. But like these people from the podcasts, oh my gosh. But anyways, I'm just so glad that we're having a conversation about it and that we're doing things differently right now. Yeah. So ask yourself, what is the current structure that I have in my life? Because you may think, but I don't have a structure. My life is a mess right now. sometimes we have these feelings, and like, I mean, please, this is totally judgment free zone, okay? I am here to help you just bring awareness and then make decisions to change your life, because if you're here it's because you want to freaking change your life, right? So just think about the structure that you have in your life right now. What are you repeating in your life? How are your days structured? And the way that your days are structured, are they helping you get closer to your goals or further away from your goals? This is a very important question. If you leave this live or the replay only answering to this question, girl, I mean, you already have a lot of things, a lot of things sorted out. And by the way, inside of the Gentle Badass Academy, my premium subscription, we are talking about structure next week. Next week, I am going to guide all the members that are inside of the Academy into creating a structure that helps them move forward and create the life that they want. We're going to go step by step. Right now, we're doing a 21-day challenge called Make the Move, and it's all about helping you create the life that you know that you're supposed to be living, building it day by day. No bullshit, practical things. That's how I love to work. So if you are already a subscriber and you're not premium yet, I've heard that there is a button. I'm new on Substack, so I was sharing links that you can't click on them, but you can click on subscribe or upgrade or something like that, and then you are inside of the Academy. I would love to have you there if that aligns for you. And then the last ingredient is courage. Yes, you need courage, but that's not the type of courage that you're thinking about. You probably are thinking about courage of, okay, I need to be courageous to take the step. Yes, but I'm not talking about this type of courage. I'm talking about you having courage to go against the grain. You having courage to just try and do things the gentle way and see how you go and progress slowly but steadily. You having courage to stick to your decisions and trust your gut, because we all, I feel, and like collectively, I feel we're all on this, in this same place where we know that we're not supposed to hustle, we're not supposed to overwork. We have a body and a soul and a mind and a nervous system that many of us, we have a sensitive nervous system, right? And we have all of this system to take care of, and we know deep down how we're supposed to do things, and we know the gentle way is the way. So it takes courage to follow the gentle way, because you will see people running around, you will see people telling you to do more, right? And you will need the courage to stick to your gut and to try the gentle way. Oh my gosh. I know. And yes, it is hard when you're doing it the hard way, but I feel it is harder to do it differently because you're going against society. You are going against what your family told you that you are supposed to do, right? And so you need that bit of courage to be able to go against the grain and trust your body and trust your intuition. Oh, Erika joined us. Hi, Erika. All right. So this is the tea that I had to share with you today. You don't need to overwork yourself on the way to success at all. Apply this recipe, see how it goes. There is another way of you achieving success that doesn't include self-neglect, self-sacrifice, and overworking and dragging yourself out in many different ways, okay? Apply the recipe. Let me know how it went. If you're catching this on the replay, comment team replay, so I know that you watched this on replay. When you send me a message or you comment replay, like my heart is like, I love it. Okay. I hope that you loved this tea, today's tea, this week's tea. It has been amazing. I love this. This is so much fun. And that's it. Just go ahead, be a badass, but remember to also be gentle. Okay. I'll see you next week. Bye.